name's Sophia Grasso, and I just finished reading the Four Agreements. I did write my answers on a Google Doc, so it's easier for me to read the questions and read it out loud. So, what was the book about? The Four Agreements is about the Toltec way of life, and it teaches us how to break from self-intimidating beliefs caused by mitote. And those are the 1,000 voices in our minds that are constantly causing conflict and self-doubt, and they make us become our own biggest critics. The beginning of the book explains how we are domesticated from a young age by family, society, religion, causing us to believe things about ourselves without questioning them. And I never actually realized that, but that did happen for me with my family. Since my family's Catholic, they automatically pushed it on to me. And to achieve personal freedom, love, and happiness, the author introduces the Four Agreements and to break those cycles. The first one is to be impeccable with your words, don't take anything personally, don't make assumptions, and always do your best. These agreements, they work together throughout the book to help us build better relationships with ourselves, gods, and others. And I saw that from the beginning to the end of the book as I started to realize how this relates to my life. So number 2, what was your biggest takeaway from the book? My biggest takeaway is the second one is don't take things personally, because I take everything personally. And I make myself suffer because of it. For example, if a student is being rude to me, I take it personally. I'm oh, I'm a bad teacher, they just don't like me. But in reality, it could be something else. Maybe they're having a bad day, or they're having hard home life. I have to learn to stop taking things so personally, which is what the book opened my eyes to. Next question, how do you plan on incorporating it in your life, if at all? I plan on incorporating all of the agreements, but especially be impeccable with your word and don't take things personally, because I always tell my students be nice to your peers. You don't know what they're going through, you don't know what anyone's going through, and words really do hurt. And this book opened my eyes that it's not just me that goes through this, it's a lot of people. Because if a word that hurts our feelings enters our mind, we automatically think that is true. For example, on page 35, when the mother was having a bad day and she told her daughter, who was singing really loud, she was oh, your singing's ugly, stop. It wasn't that her singing was bad, it was that her mother was having a bad day, and that pushed her over the edge. She shouldn't have done that, but she did, and then it caused black magic, and the daughter lived with it for the rest of her life. So that's why we should be impeccable with our words so we have white magic, or self-love, which is something that I'm going to emphasize in my teachings, because words do hurt, and a lot of people say stuff without realizing how deep the cuts are. So did you like the book? Yes, I really did like the book. At first I thought I wasn't going to like it, but I did relate to it so much without realizing it, because I always make assumptions without realizing it, and it causes me to overthink. If someone is rude to me, I assume it's something I did wrong, or I assume there's something wrong with my personality or me as a person, but in reality it's not. It could be just them having a bad day, or us just not getting along. It's not personal, we just have different interests. I'm always hard on myself because I hold myself to certain standards. When we're taking the quizzes in the class or test, if I don't get a high grade in my mind, I'm oh, I'm not smart enough. But that's not true. The book opened my mind that a lot of people go through this feeling. Next question, do you feel as though this can help you in your life? Yes, I feel this book really can help me in my life, especially in my teachings, because again, not taking everything personally. Students are going to say something, some students just say whatever on their mind, and even if it's hurtful, I could say hey, you hurt my feelings, but I shouldn't take it personally. One time I was a student teaching the middle schoolers, and they don't change. They don't like new games. They like to play football, baseball. I try to introduce them to a new team sports game where they had to run through different levels without getting tagged. They didn't like it because it was new, and they said that one of the girls said I was a bad teacher. And ever since then, that has been in my mind, and it made me overthink my choices for school. But again, it's not that I'm a bad teacher, it's just she didn't like the lesson. Any other thoughts or opinions that you would like to share? I also like the agreement, always do your best, because I always do try to do my best, and I hold myself to high standards, and if I don't reach them, I beat myself up. But to break this cycle, I have to realize stop victimizing myself and abusing myself, because a quiz doesn't define me. So after reading this book, I actually recommended it to a couple of my friends, and I'm gonna lend it to them and see what they think of it too. And I'm gonna ask them the same questions. But I did really like the book. It does like correlate to me a lot, and I did learn a lot from it, especially like learning that to not take things personally, like holding myself to certain standards. Like just because I didn't do good on a quiz doesn't make me like a bad person or not smart enough. Like this book opened my eyes that all of these thoughts in my head to be able to like live freely, I have to realize that I'm abusing myself, and I have to stop like living in a life like that and start being more positive.